right, time now for Unstoppable Performances presented by Ram Trucks. When we talk about unstoppable performances, we got to talk about a team in the SEC that's exceeded everyone's expectations except maybe their quarterback and Diego Pavia's expectations and the team itself. That is Vanderbilt. Started 5-0 before losing to Bama earlier this month. Since then, though, all they've done is back it up with back-to-back top 15 teams wins against LSU and Missouri. Right. And this week they got a chance to do it once again against a ranked opponent as they head to Austin to take on Texas. When you look at this matchup and you look at Vanderbilt and their quarterback in Diego Pavia, this is a really good Texas defense.
No question.
How does Vanderbilt attack the Longhorns defensively?
You find a way to exploit the vulnerabilities that they showed against Mississippi State just a week ago, and a lot of the success that the Bulldogs found was in the play-action game. Obviously, Vandy, very good at running the ball, so you use that to your advantage. You may not necessarily be able to earn the yardage at a clip that you have been over the course of the early goings of this season, but what you can do off of that is essential. Get Diego comfortable, and sometimes he's just going to have to create, and he's one of the best cats to do that in all of college football.
Mississippi State, by the way, had 11 passing plays of 15 or more yards last week against
Texas.
Texas.
Look at the film. It's off of zone read looks, things that freeze linebackers, make safeties guess, and they took advantage.
All right, Diego, got to use that arm. On the other side, there's obviously a highly touted quarterback in Arch Manning, but he might not be able to go for the Longhorns because he was knocked out of last week's game with a concussion. How does Texas then, if Arch isn't able to go, attack this Vanderbilt defense, in your opinion?
Okay, so ideally, you would do what you should have been doing with Arch from the rip and run the dang ball.
Let's go!
However, interior linemen being hurt on the offensive end and just a lack of willingness to really push that button shows you that it's going to be upon Matthew Caldwell's shoulders to just make something shake, and I don't know that I trust Texas to be able to do that. Obviously, a run game is a quarterback's best friend, especially one that doesn't have a whole lot of experience in this specific offense, but I just don't know that that will be there available to them, so it's really just going to look at, all right, can you get your chunk plays when the opportunities arise? Can you make something shake despite not having one element of the offensive attack going for it?
It feels like both sides, the pass game has to be pivotal.
No
Whoever's going to win this one. But I will say, for Matthew Caldwell, he came in last week and helped them to a win.
Game-winning touchdown throw.
Had to do it. So I think this team will really rally around him if he's the one who has to go in place of Arch Manning. Now, what can they do with that? He's a veteran guy, grad transfer. He doesn't have a ton of playing time, but in a big moment, he stepped up. So I think his guys are going to inevitably have his back if he's the one who has to take the field this week in a big game. And I mentioned big game because it kind of is. Both of these teams at this point still very much in the mix for that SEC title game. But, Trev, do you think the loser of this one is ultimately knocked out of that race?
Yeah, in the SEC specifically, you're not going to see a two-loss team, it feels like, given how Alabama and Texas A&M have asserted themselves atop of the standings. But I will say, specifically for Vanderbilt, this doesn't take you out of playoff contention should you lose.
It does not.
Texas, I do believe it does. It's the third loss on the schedule. You haven't looked great all year, and there's going to be a tough case to be made for you to get a spot in the top 12. But Vandy, if you were to take this loss, may not be a whole lot of opportunities for you to make your schedule sing, but if you were to win out, I think you'll be just fine with just two losses.
Yeah, SEC championship, it might take you out, but in Vanderbilt's case, to your point, college football playoff would still very much be in the mix. To your point, Texas had an 87% chance to reach the playoff, highest of any team, according to the All-State Playoff Predictor coming into the season. Vanderbilt had a chance of under 2%, which is crazy. Now, if you look at these numbers, the Commodores have a better chance than the Longhorns, 44% to 41%, and can functionally eliminate Texas from the playoff race this week if they end up knocking them off. Yeah, who would have thought this week this is the game that we would be highlighting?
Awesome.
Not me.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you.